By 1774, Louis XVI inherited an empty treasury, drained by war and an extravagant court. French society was divided into three estates. The clergy and nobility enjoyed privileges by birth, including exemption from taxes. Only the third estate paid. A rising population and bad harvests caused the price of bread, the staple diet, to rise rapidly, leading to frequent subsistence crises. In May 1789, the king called the Estates General. The Third Estate demanded voting where each member had one vote, following the ideas of Rousseau. When the king rejected this, the representatives declared themselves the National Assembly and swore the tennis court oath to draft a constitution. Amid unrest and rumors, the crowd stormed and destroyed the Bastille, a hated symbol of the king's despotic power. Peasant revolts, the Great Fear, swept the countryside. The Assembly soon abolished the feudal system of obligations and taxes. The 1791 Constitution made France a constitutional monarchy, separating powers to limit the king. It began with the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen, establishing natural and inalienable rights like freedom of speech and equality before the law. This shift was driven by the ideas of the educated middle class and philosophers like Locke, Rousseau, and Montesquieu. Yet, political rights were limited. Only men who paid high taxes were active citizens, entitled to vote. Amid war with Austria and Prussia, the more radical Jacobin Club, led by Robespierre, rose to power. After a Parisian insurrection, the Assembly voted to imprison the royal family. They abolished the monarchy and declared France a republic. Louis XVI was executed for treason. The period from 1793 to 1794 became the Reign of Terror. Robespierre followed a policy of severe control, guillotining perceived enemies of the Republic. His government enforced rationing, price controls, and political uniformity, even requiring the common use of the term citizen. Finally, facing demands for moderation, Robespierre was convicted and sent to the guillotine, ending the terror. A new constitution introduced the Directory, an executive of 5 members, but its instability paved the way for a military dictator. Women, though classified as passive citizens, continued their fight for equal political rights. Activists like Olympe de Gouges were executed after protesting the exclusion of women's rights. One social reform was the abolition of slavery in French Caribbean colonies by the Convention in 1794, temporarily halting the triangular trade. Napoleon briefly reintroduced slavery, but it was finally and permanently abolished in all French colonies in 1848. After the Bastille, the most immediate revolutionary law was the abolition of censorship, guaranteeing freedom of speech and expression. The Directory's instability ended in 1804 when Napoleon Bonaparte crowned himself emperor. He conquered neighboring countries, viewing himself as a modernizer. He introduced laws like the protection of private property and the uniform decimal system, embodying modern laws. Though defeated at Waterloo in 1815, the ideas of liberty and democratic rights became the most important legacy of the revolution. These principles spread to the rest of Europe, abolishing feudal systems, and inspiring leaders like Tipu Sultan and Raja Rammohun Roy in India. The French Revolution permanently changed the course of history.